There are many historians out there distorting the history of Nigeria. In this video, I want to put straight the record of the presidency of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who was the immediate successor of Olusegun Obasanjo, whose second term ended in 2007. He became the president upon return to civilian rule in 1999. Got re-elected in 2003 and ended the second term in 2007, succeeded by the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who died in office in 2010. Now, the history of his presidency. Yar'Adua did three great things that impressed Nigerians to the extent that many Nigerians were saying that the Messiah has finally come in person of President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. What did he do? Three things. One, immediately he became the president, he reduced fuel price, something that has never happened in Nigerian history. 2 days or even less than 2 days before the end of the second term of Olusegun Obasanjo, 2 days to his departure from office, he increased fuel price. When Umaru Musa Yar'Adua was installed as the president, immediately he brought down the price even below the increment made by Obasanjo. So Nigerians said, thank God the Messiah is here at the end, finally. The second thing that impressed Nigerians about Yar'Adua was that he admitted that the election that brought him in as the president was not free and fair. And on that basis, he set up an electoral reform committee headed by the now late Justice Mohammed Weiss. In the third instance, and the third thing that made Nigerians happy, saying the Messiah was here after all, was that Yar'Adua granted amnesty to the Niger Delta militants that were disrupting exploration of petroleum in the Niger Delta on the basis of injustice to the region by the rulers of the land and the exploiters, foreign exploiters of the mineral. So he granted them an amnesty on unsettled terms that pleased the Niger Delta militants. And so peace was reigning in the Niger Delta. All this, it was on the basis of those three things I've just mentioned that the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of Nigeria, RCCG, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, predicted, Nigeria, evil people shall never rule you again. But what followed the three things that I've mentioned. What followed? One, Yar'Adua failed to implement the recommendations of the electoral reform that is set up with Nigerian money. The recommendations of the electoral committee that he set up by himself, when the recommendations of what to do to make Nigeria's elections free and fair. One of it, to the best of my knowledge, was that the principal officers of the electoral committee or of the electoral commission should not be appointed by the sitting government that has interest in elections. So things like that will make Nigeria's election to be free and fair on the basis of the laws guiding the formation and the running of the commission, the Independent National Electoral Commission. So that is one thing that was a reverse of the three good things that impressed Nigerians to saying that the Messiah is here already. And Pastor Adeboye predicting that evil people shall never rule Nigeria again. The second reverse was that Umaru Musa Yar'Adua started the presidency of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua started a campaign of calumny against the Boko Haram Muslim community that was peaceful throughout the presidency of Olusegun Obasanjo. He started a campaign of calumny against the community, saying that Boko Haram means Western education is evil. That was the interpretation. And of course, most Nigerians, including my humble self, became enraged against the Boko Haram Muslim community. How could that be? So it was not that Boko Haram was violent. No, Boko Haram did not take up arms, just protesting Western education as entangled with haram. But the interpretation was flat. The community is demonizing Western education as evil. And when everybody or most people became enraged against the community, that was the leverage for attacking the community, and Nigerians were satisfied. It took a long time I took time to study the situation. When somebody cautioned me, somebody who knew what was happening, he said, you better pay attention to what was happening and not to jump into conclusion. And I mellowed. I then came to understand that Boko is the Hausa transliteration of the English book, and Haram is misappropriation and embezzlement of public funds responsible for the retrogression of Nigeria and mass abject poverty trailing Nigeria. So, Boko Haram, Western education, entangled with haram, misappropriation of what does not belong to you, haram. But where I'm going is that in 2009. Yar'Adua came to power in 2007. By 2009, he took up arms against the Boko Haram Muslim community under the spurious, falsified accusation. There is another aspect that Islam does not allow a secluded community, whereas Nigeria's constitution permits freedom of religion and association. So Yar'Adua's presidency swept all of that under the carpet and took up arms against the Boko Haram Muslim community. That was peaceful throughout the presidency of Olusegun Obasanjo. The rest is history. Nigeria has been grappling with the Boko Haram Muslim community since 2009 till date. I don't know whether anybody will ever have the courage to tell the world how many people have lost their lives to the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community, and what amount of economic resources have been committed into the war, importing war planes and sophisticated weapons, importing them with exorbitant prices. And the war against the Boko Haram was the excuse for laundering money. Nigeria's airplane that was seized in South Africa was said to be going to purchase weapons with huge amount of money in dollars seized in South Africa. So war against Boko Haram became another avenue for siphoning Nigeria's wealth in the name of looking for warplanes and sophisticated weapons to fight the Boko Haram Muslim community, and to no avail since 2009 till date 2025. And for Umaru Musa Yar'Adua himself, when he was coming to power, his promise was that he would declare state of emergency on electricity. That was not achieved. It was not even pursued. It was not even one of the things we remember Yar'Adua. And Nigeria's rulers love him so much that Goodluck Ebele Asikwe Jonathan squandered his 4 years on fighting Boko Haram and squandering money. Wasted all the foreign reserves left behind by Olusegun Obasanjo in the name of fighting Boko Haram. Muhammadu Buhari came 8 years fighting Boko Haram, and Tinubu came in 2023 still fighting Boko Haram. A war unjustly imposed on Nigeria by Yar'Adua, ravaging human lives and economic resources of Nigeria since 2009 till date. So his promise to declare state of emergency on electricity as soon as he got to power, it became an empty promise to which he did not return, or on which he did not act on getting to power until he died in 2010. 2007 to 2010, Yar'Adua did not even attempt to fulfill his promise of declaring state of emergency on electricity. So what makes Yar'Adua a hero for Nigeria's rulers? Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan told his steps fighting Boko Haram. Muhammadu Buhari, let's forget for a moment that he added herdsmen terrorism to the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community. And now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying that he would, and indeed he is towing the footsteps of Yar'Adua, Jonathan and Buhari. On what grounds?